In a small town called Brookfield, there lived a young woman named Emma. Emma was 26 years old and worked as a marketing assistant at a local company. She had dark brown hair and bright green eyes that showed her energy and dreams. Emma lived alone in a modest apartment filled with plants and photos. She loved nature and often spent her weekends hiking nearby trails or watching the sunset at the park. Emma was cheerful and friendly. She enjoyed meeting new people and helping her friends. However, Emma faced many challenges at work. The company was very busy, and Emma often felt stressed. She wanted to prove herself and succeed, but sometimes she felt lost. She struggled with her confidence whenever a big project came her way. She often wondered if she was good enough for her job. Emma wanted to be seen as a leader, but found it hard to speak up during meetings. This made her feel anxious. Growing up, Emma loved to read and dream. She imagined herself achieving great things, like becoming a director one day. She admired strong women in leadership roles. Emma had a friend named Sarah, who was a successful manager. Sarah always encouraged her and often said, "Believe in yourself, and you will go far." Emma looked up to Sarah, but sometimes felt she had a long way to go. In her free time, Emma learned new skills. She loved to cook and tried making different foods from many cultures. Cooking helped her relax, but she still felt the pressure of work. She often found herself thinking about deadlines instead of enjoying her hobbies. Emma wanted to find balance in her life. The struggle between work and personal time troubled her. Emma also faced personal challenges. She had a hard time building close relationships at work. At times, she felt lonely, even when surrounded by others. Her desire for connection made her anxious, and that made her push people away. She said to herself, "If only I could be more like Sarah." Emma wanted to learn how to overcome these hurdles. Emma dreamed of becoming a marketing manager one day. This wish kept her focused on growing and improving her skills. She knew she needed to learn how to manage her time better. She began reading books about leadership and time management, hoping to improve her abilities. Her goals were clear, but the path to achieving them seemed foggy. As Emma faced her challenges, she learned about persistence and self-belief. Each step forward needed her courage to try new things. She was beginning to understand that challenges were part of her journey. The road ahead was filled with learning moments. With a fresh understanding of her struggles, Emma was ready to take the journey toward her dreams. In the small town of Brookfield, Emma took a deep breath and chose to face her fears. Understanding her challenges was the first step in growing into the leader she wished to be. Emma's story shows that everyone can overcome obstacles with hard work and belief in themselves. As the days went by at work, Emma started to notice changes. A new coworker named Lucy joined the team. At first, Lucy seemed friendly, often smiling and saying hello. But soon, Emma found that Lucy's smiles were not friendly at all. Instead, she was quietly mean. She would roll her eyes when Emma spoke in meetings. Sometimes, Lucy made snide comments about Emma's work. "That's your best idea? Think again," she would say with a sneer. Emma felt small and troubled by Lucy's words. One afternoon, Emma was preparing for a big presentation. She had worked all night to create it. She was proud of her efforts and wanted to share her ideas confidently. But as she practiced in the break room, Lucy walked in. "Are you really going to show that to everyone?" Lucy asked, smirking. Emma's heart sank. She didn't understand why Lucy was being so mean. "Yes, I think it is good," Emma replied, trying to sound strong. But inside, she felt a wave of doubt rush over her. The next day was the presentation day. Emma felt nervous but hopeful. She wanted to show everyone her hard work. As she stood up to speak, she noticed Lucy whispering to a few colleagues. They all laughed. Emma's hands shook as she began. Halfway through, Lucy cut in. "This is confusing. Why would anyone care?" she shouted. The laughter returned, ringing louder than before. Emma's cheeks turned red. She wished she could disappear. The laughter made it hard for her to focus. After the presentation, Emma felt defeated. She returned to her desk and took a deep breath. Thoughts of doubt surrounded her. "Am I really good at my job?" she asked herself. "Maybe Lucy is right. Maybe I am not good enough." Every time she recalled Lucy's words, it stung, as if a thorn pricked her heart. Emma stared at the screen, unable to work. Days turned into weeks. Lucy continued to bully Emma through small acts. She would take credit for Emma's ideas in front of their boss. At lunch, Lucy started to spread rumors, saying Emma was lazy. Others began to ignore Emma. "Maybe I should just keep my head down," Emma thought. The pressure to conform and stay quiet grew heavy on her shoulders. Emma didn't want to create more conflict. She felt stuck, but she wanted to be strong. One day, Emma's boss, Mr. Harris, called her into his office. "I've noticed you seem quieter lately," he said, eyeing her carefully. "Are you okay?" Emma felt tears well up, but fought them back. "I am fine, thank you," she replied. Yet, deep down, she felt everything but fine. Standing up for herself seemed far away, as if a mountain blocked her view. Even in the face of doubt and fear, a small voice inside Emma whispered, "You must find a way to work through this." Each moment of struggle pushed her closer to deciding to stand strong. She could feel the tension building, not just at work, but within herself. This was a time to grow. Emma believed that she could overcome the challenges Lucy presented, but she needed to discover how to find her own voice. As weeks passed, the atmosphere at work grew heavy for Emma. Lucy's bullying continued, and every day felt like climbing a steep hill. Each snide remark made Emma doubt herself more and more. She started to avoid meetings, fearful of Lucy's comments. Her confidence was sinking. When the phone rang, she hesitated to answer. Simple tasks felt hard to complete. Emma began losing her focus. She made mistakes on reports, something she never did before. When her boss reviewed her work, he frowned. "Emma, we need better results." "Are you okay?" he asked, concern in his eyes. Emma nodded, but inside, doubts crept deeper into her mind. "What is wrong with me?" she thought. The question echoed, making her feel more alone each day. One afternoon, Emma sat in her cubicle, feeling isolated. Everyone else seemed to get along. They laughed and shared coffee breaks. Emma watched them from a distance, wishing she could join. But with every laugh she heard, she felt more small. She remembered the times when she had made friends easily. Now, everything seemed different. The fun was fading from her work life. Late one evening, Emma stayed behind to finish her tasks. She hoped no one would see her struggle. But as she worked, Lucy walked in. "Staying late again? Shouldn't you be home?" Lucy sneered, leaning against the doorframe. "I guess some people just can't handle their work," she added. Emma cringed at the insult. All she wanted was to do well and not be judged. "I will get better," she told herself softly, but the words felt fragile. Emma felt trapped in a cycle of stress. The pressure seemed endless. She began to question her abilities and whether she would ever succeed in her career. "Maybe I should quit," she thought often. It might be easier, but quitting scared her just as much. It was like a fire that burned in her heart. She did not want to give up on her dreams. Yet, staying in such a toxic environment felt painful. Every night, Emma lay in bed thinking, "Should I fight back against Lucy? Or should I tell someone?" Fear filled her heart. In her mind, she imagined talking to her boss about Lucy's behavior. But what if Mr. Harris did not believe her? What if telling would make things worse? The fear of standing up started to drown her excitement for work. Emma felt weak, and that made her heart ache. She wanted to scream, but could only whisper her frustrations. "Why is this happening to me?" Outside, the stars looked down, shining softly. Emma knew she had to make a choice soon. The weight of the situation felt heavy. Would she stay quiet and continue to feel miserable? Or should she gather strength and confront the problem? In the quiet of the night, Emma decided she needed help. "Maybe I should talk to Sarah," she thought of her friend. Sarah had always been supportive. Emma's heart felt a little lighter, like hope was beginning to peek through the clouds. It was time to take a step forward. Emma would not let fear keep her down any longer. Bright stars overhead seemed to whisper, urging her to fight for her happiness. The day of the big project presentation finally arrived, and Emma felt a storm brewing inside her. For weeks, she had worked hard on this task. The project could lead to a promotion, something she deeply wanted. But the thought of presenting in front of her team made her stomach turn. She could already picture Lucy sitting in the front row, her eager smile hiding sharp words. As Emma entered the meeting room, her heart raced. Everyone was seated, and Mr. Harris was ready to begin. Emma set up her presentation with hands shaking. "Just focus," she whispered to herself, trying to calm down. But as she looked at Lucy, chatting quietly with others, doubt filled her mind again. "What if I forget my words? What if they all laugh at me?" Emma pushed those thoughts away, determined to try. When it was her turn to speak, the room fell silent. Emma took a deep breath and began. She spoke clearly about her ideas, showing the slides with pride. As she continued, she noticed a few raised eyebrows and nods. For a moment, she felt powerful, like she could do anything. But as she reached a tricky point, she stumbled on her words. Panic hit her like a wave. Lucy whispered, "See? I told you she wasn't ready." And the laughter began. Emma's heart sank. All the hard work felt meaningless in that moment. She struggled to find her voice again, but Lucy's words echoed in her mind. "I'm not good enough. I can't do this," Emma thought. The world around her faded, and she could only hear her heartbeat. Suddenly, a clear thought broke through the noise. No more fear. Emma stood tall, straightening her back. "I have worked hard for this," she declared, surprising even herself. "I will not let anyone doubt my strength." In that moment, Emma made a choice. She would face her fears, no longer allowing Lucy's opinions to control her thoughts. With a renewed sense of purpose, she took a deep breath and continued her presentation. "I believe in these ideas," she said, letting her voice flow with firmness. As she spoke, Emma saw the faces of her colleagues shift from laughter to attention. Mr. Harris nodded, and others started taking notes. Emma felt a spark light within her, but just as she finished her closing statement, Lucy raised her hand. "Can we really trust these ideas? They seem a bit weak," Lucy said with a smug tone. The room fell silent again, tensions rising. Emma felt like she was standing on shaky ground. She could hear others mumbling in agreement, and doubt began to creep back in. Emma searched for her voice. A wave of anger, fear, and determination surged within her. "I appreciate your feedback, Lucy, but these ideas are strong and backed by research," Emma replied, feeling braver. The words came out firmer than expected. She had defended her work. A moment of silence passed, and then, one by one, her colleagues started to support her views. In those final moments of tension, Emma realized she was not alone. The fear began to fade, replaced by a strong belief in herself. Whatever happened next, Emma knew she would stand her ground. This was the turning point she needed. Emma felt alive, ready to take charge of her career. It was time to change the flow of her story completely. She was ready to face whatever came next. After Emma defended her ideas with strength, the room remained silent for a brief moment. Then, murmurs erupted. Mr. Harris cleared his throat and nodded respectfully at Emma. "Thank you for your work, Emma. We will take your ideas into consideration," he said, trying to keep the atmosphere calm. Emma felt a small flicker of hope, but it was short-lived as she turned to see Lucy's reaction. "Taking your ideas into consideration? Seriously?" Lucy scoffed, her voice filled with contempt. "You really think you have what it takes to lead?" The mockery was sharp, and Emma felt her heart sink. The laughter from her colleagues returned, echoing in her ears. Each round of laughter cut through her, and doubt surged once more. Emma's gut twisted. The confrontation brought a rush of adrenaline, and she felt both proud and terrified. But as the meeting ended, the weight of Lucy's words settled heavily on her shoulders. Emma left the room in a daze, her breath quickening. She kept replaying the confrontation in her mind, questioning every word she had said. What if she had not handled it well? What if Mr. Harris lost faith in her completely? Back at her desk, Emma's hands shook as she tried to focus. She needed to complete important tasks, but the anxiety tied her up in knots. She remembered how strong she had felt while speaking up, but that feeling was fading fast. All she could think about were Lucy's cruel remarks. "What if I am not as good as I thought?" Emma asked herself, heart racing. Each passing minute seemed to pull her deeper into despair. Later, Mr. Harris called Emma to his office. She walked in slowly, her heart pounding in her chest. Before she could even sit, Mr. Harris looked concerned. "Emma, I appreciate your passion, but speaking to a colleague like that can cause issues. You need to work on your approach," he noted, his voice steady. Emma felt as if the floor had dropped beneath her. "I didn't want to let her walk over me," Emma whispered, feeling small. The pressure of the moment crashed down, and frustration welled up within her. Regret flooded her thoughts. "Maybe I should have stayed quiet like before," she thought. Mr. Harris sighed. "Emma, I want you to succeed. It is important to have strong ideas, but how you communicate them matters too." Those words pierced Emma deeply. She realized that her moment of strength was now becoming a moment of failure. She felt guilty for causing conflict instead of finding a way to resolve it. However, the worst part was when Mr. Harris spoke about the future of the project. "With everything considered, I am not sure we can include your ideas this time," he said gently. Emma's heart shattered. All her late nights and hard work felt wasted. The opportunity she had dreamed of slipped right through her fingers. Emma left his office, her head spinning. Every step felt heavy, and tears threatened to spill from her eyes. She felt embarrassment, guilt, and a desperate need to escape. Why had she tried to stand up? Perhaps it was all too much. Maybe the quiet life she had before was better. For the first time in a long while, Emma felt utterly lost. Sitting at her desk, she looked around. The laughter of co-workers became muted sounds. The fear of losing everything lingered in the air. Every moment of doubt washed over her, leaving her feeling isolated in a busy office. Only a growing sense of regret filled her heart. Would she ever find her way back to hope? The next day felt like a fog for Emma. She arrived at work with heavy footsteps, her heart still aching from the meeting with Mr. Harris. As she sat at her desk, doubt swirled in her mind. Was it worth trying to improve? Did she even have what it took to succeed? Just as she began to sink deeper into despair, a message popped up on her computer screen. It was a note from Sarah, her supportive friend, asking to meet for lunch. Emma's heart warmed at the thought of talking to Sarah, someone who always believed in her. Slowly, she wrote back, agreeing to meet. The anticipation of seeing her friend brought a tiny spark of hope. When Emma sat across from Sarah at the small cafe nearby, it felt like a breath of fresh air. "Hey, how have you been?" Sarah asked, concern in her bright eyes. That simple question unlocked Emma's feelings. "It has been tough," she confessed, letting out a deep sigh. "I stood up for my ideas, but it all went wrong. I feel like I am failing," she admitted, her voice quivering. Sarah listened quietly, her warm smile never fading. After a moment, she leaned in. "Emma, you are not a failure." Standing up took a lot of courage. "You believed in what you shared, and that matters," she spoke gently. A thought struck Emma as Sarah spoke. Maybe it was okay to make mistakes along the way. "But I lost my chance with the project," Emma murmured, feeling sad again. "That does not mean you won't have more opportunities," Sarah said, her voice firm. "You are talented and have so much to offer. Sometimes, it takes a few bumps to learn how to stand tall." Emma felt a flicker of determination stir inside her. As they continued to talk, Emma realized something important. She had been so focused on the criticisms from Lucy and Mr. Harris that she forgot her strengths. For too long, she had let others dim her light. Emma closed her eyes for a brief moment, imagining the voice inside her that believed in her abilities. She could hear it say, "You are stronger than this." The thought filled her with warmth and courage. "Maybe I need to talk to Mr. Harris again," Emma said slowly, her eyes sparkling with new hope. Sarah nodded eagerly, encouraging her. "Yes, you can explain where you were coming from. Show him your passion and ideas again. It is not too late to make your voice heard," she encouraged, and that felt like a relief. Emma took a deep breath and felt lighter for the first time in days. As they finished lunch, Emma left with a sense of purpose. The fear from the previous days seemed to fade away. She knew she had to believe in herself and her ideas. Emma returned to her desk with a plan. She would write an email to Mr. Harris, requesting a meeting to discuss the project further. "You can do this," she whispered quietly, feeling more like herself again. Walking back into the office, Emma felt a newfound strength swell within her. It was time to take control of her path. She would not let fear dictate her journey any longer. Everything she had learned, every challenge she faced, was preparing her for this moment. Emma was ready to rise. This was the beginning of her transformation, and she could feel the positive change set in motion. Her journey had just begun, and she was excited to see where it would lead. The day after her lunch with Sarah, Emma felt a flutter of excitement mixed with nervousness. She sat at her desk, the email to Mr. Harris open on her screen. Her heart raced as she read and reread her words. "Finally," she wrote, "I would love to discuss my project ideas further. I believe they can really benefit the team." Sending the email felt like letting go of a weight she had carried for too long. After she clicked send, a wave of uncertainty washed over her again. What if he says no? The thought crept back in, making her doubt herself. But deep down, Emma remembered what Sarah said about believing in her abilities. Emma was stronger now, and she would not let fear win. Looking around the office, she noticed her co-workers working together. They laughed and smiled, and Emma felt a surge of hope. She could be part of that energy. Later, Mr. Harris responded. He agreed to meet Emma the next morning. Excitement raced within her. However, that night, as she prepared for the meeting, self-doubt crept in once more. What if I don't know what to say? What if he doesn't change his mind? Emma struggled to calm her racing heart. She took a deep breath, wanting to refocus her thoughts. It was in challenging moments like these that true growth happens. The next day, Emma entered Mr. Harris's office with determination. "I am ready for this," she told herself. As they sat across from each other, she felt the weight of her fears lift. She spoke about her ideas with genuine enthusiasm, sharing her plans clearly. Her voice grew stronger with each word. She had practiced enough to share what she truly believed. Mr. Harris listened closely. When she finished, he nodded, looking impressed. "These ideas are strong, Emma. I'm sorry I didn't see their full potential before. Let's work together to make this project a success." Emma felt tears of joy welling in her eyes. His support meant the world to her and was a turning point in her journey. As she left his office, a sense of accomplishment filled Emma's heart. She now accepted that mistakes could help her learn. Standing up for herself taught her how powerful she could be. She took time to reflect on her growth. All the anxiety and doubt she once felt made her appreciate this moment even more. Hard work and courage had opened new doors. That week, Emma found herself more engaged at work. She laughed, shared ideas, and began collaborating freely with her coworkers. Lucy's cruel remarks faded away into the background, no longer holding power over her. Emma realized that she had the ability to create a positive environment around her. Reconnecting with her purpose invigorated her spirit and supported her journey forward. At the end of the week, she decided to host a little team gathering. Emma wanted to celebrate the new direction of the project and foster better relationships. As they shared pizza and laughter, Emma knew she had not only transformed her work life, but also had begun transforming how she saw herself. Emma understood now that her journey was only beginning. Every small step built upon another to create a path toward her dreams. She smiled, feeling hopeful and ready for the future. Emma held the power to drive the change she wanted in both her professional life and personal growth. She was indeed in control, and that confidence sparkled brightly within her. As days passed after the team gathering, Emma felt a new strength growing within her. She had shared her ideas, fostered connections with her coworkers, and felt empowered to continue making changes. However, she knew that this was not just about her own growth. She had seen how Lucy's behavior affected not only her, but also others in the office. It was time to take a stand against the negativity that had lingered for too long. One afternoon, as Emma worked on the project, she noticed Lucy whispering to another coworker again. This time, they were clearly talking about Emma. The laughter pierced her heart, but instead of retreating to her desk like before, she took a deep breath. The dark cloud of doubt that usually filled her mind had begun to clear. She was done letting Lucy's comments control her feelings. It was time for boundaries. Emma walked over to Lucy and her coworker, courage filling her. "I can't hear you," Emma said firmly, her voice steady. "I know you joke about my work, but it's not okay." Lucy's eyes widened in surprise. The room fell silent as Emma continued. "I believe in my ideas and our team. I hope you can start supporting each other instead of making fun." Lucy opened her mouth to reply, but Emma held her gaze. This was a moment of truth. Emma was not going to let fear push her back any longer. To her relief, their coworker nodded, adding, "Yeah, we really should support Emma. Everyone has moments of doubt. Lifting each other up makes the team stronger." With that, something shifted in the air. Emma felt the weight of judgment fall away, replaced by respect. Lucy's face flushed, and she looked from Emma to their coworker, unsure of what to say next. Although she didn't apologize, it was apparent the tide had started to turn. Emma realized that many others felt the same way, but had also feared Lucy's influence. Later that week, a team meeting was called to discuss workplace culture and support. Mr. Harris shared how important it was for everyone to feel safe and respected at work. Emma felt the need to speak up again. Tension filled her heart, but she remembered her confidence from the other day. "Mr. Harris," Emma said, raising her hand, "I think it's essential we create an open environment. We need to address negative comments before they happen. It can truly impact our work." Mr. Harris nodded thoughtfully. "You are right, Emma. This kind of courage helps everyone feel included." Emma felt proud as some coworkers smiled in agreement. She had not only stood up for herself, but for a better work environment for all. As the meeting wrapped up, Emma noticed a shift in how her colleagues treated each other. Some began making small changes to offer support and kindness. They started sharing compliments about ideas and celebrating one another's achievements. Even a quiet laughter filled the office, but this time it felt lighter and more positive. Emma could see the change happening, and it filled her with joy. The positive shift also encouraged Emma to meet with Mr. Harris about creating workshops focused on team dynamics and communication. She painted a picture of a work life where every voice mattered and boundaries were respected. Mr. Harris welcomed the idea with open arms. "Let's make this happen," he said with an encouraging smile. That day, Emma realized the importance of setting boundaries. It was more than just addressing Lucy's behavior. It involved framing a healthier dialogue in her workplace. Emma knew it would be an ongoing process, but she was no longer afraid to take the lead. The path was far from clear, but every step she took reinforced the hope that change was possible. Emma firmly believed they could build a supportive environment together, one small step at a time. After weeks of pushing for a healthier work environment, Emma felt a subtle shift happening around her. The changes she hoped for were slowly taking root. Encouraged by Mr. Harris's support for her ideas about team workshops, she decided to arrange a meeting with her colleagues. This was her chance to gain feedback and inspire others to join her vision. She felt nervous but determined, a sign that the actions she had taken were beginning to work. In the days leading up to the meeting, Emma prepared carefully. She reached out to her coworkers, inviting them to share their thoughts. Each conversation filled her with excitement, and she loved hearing their ideas about improving teamwork. Many expressed their willingness to help, sharing how they too desired a more supportive workspace. Emma created a welcoming environment for them to come together, even offering coffee and snacks to make the atmosphere warmer and friendlier. The day of the meeting arrived, and as Emma entered the room, hope radiated from her. Her pulse quickened, but she remembered the strength she found when standing up for herself. When her coworkers began to arrive, she greeted them warmly, feeling more in control. Each piece of feedback added life to her ideas, and soon the office felt alive with energy. One of her teammates, Jake, spoke up during the meeting. He shared how Lucy's comments had hurt him, too. "Emma, I appreciate your bravery," said Jake. "I want to support you and be part of this change." Hearing that made Emma smile deeply. Knowing that she inspired someone gave her hope and pushed her to keep going. With Jake's support, others began sharing their stories, which built a sense of unity in the group. As they discussed improvements, Emma noticed the light gradually returning to everyone's eyes. Instead of defending against negativity, they were inspiring each other. They formulated plans to celebrate small successes, emphasizing positivity in the workplace. This focus renewed the team spirit Emma had hoped for. Later that week, Annie, another colleague, stopped by Emma's desk with a big smile. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said. "Your leadership is really making a difference. I feel more confident speaking up now." Emma's heart soared. Seeing Annie's encouragement confirmed that they were all moving in the right direction. It felt rewarding to see her efforts having a meaningful impact. As days turned into weeks, Emma successfully completed her project ahead of schedule, backed by the supportive environment she cultivated. She received praise from Mr. Harris, further boosting her confidence. "You did great work, Emma. Keep up this great energy," he expressed proudly. Emma glowed with warmth and joy, realizing that her actions and the recognition affirmed her growth. It was a small yet significant win. Emma recognized that her journey was about creating deeper connections. It was not only about reclaiming her power, but helping others rediscover theirs as well. The office transformed into a space where encouragement grew and negativity faded. Emma learned that working together built strong foundations, and each acknowledgement of success came back to them tenfold. With all these wins lining her path, Emma saw how far she had come and knew that her actions truly mattered. This realization motivated her to keep moving forward. She felt empowered to tackle the challenges still ahead, both for herself and her team. The support they shared was like a flourishing garden rooted in respect. Emma took comfort in knowing she could foster growth and hope in both her workplace and her heart. In the comforting glow of collective progress, there lay an exciting sense of possibility for everyone involved. Emma was finally in a place where every small step counted. As time passed, Emma felt the office environment change around her. The energy was no longer heavy with fear. Instead, there was laughter, collaboration, and the kind of camaraderie she always dreamed of. She had seen how her efforts and her colleagues' support helped create this new atmosphere. Still, Emma knew she had more work to do, not just for herself, but for her team's growth. One morning, Emma sat in her office, a wave of new inspiration flowing through her. She reflected on her journey. Only months ago, she had sheltered under the weight of self-doubt. Now, she felt excitement for the future. Emma realized that she had strength and a voice that mattered. This was the time for her to take action on her long-term career goals. Eventually, Emma was ready to set her sights on a new position, a marketing manager role that had always seemed out of reach. All the new skills she had learned and the confidence she gained from each challenge motivated her. She knew she was ready to apply for it. This goal represented more than just a job. It meant stepping fully into her power and influencing others positively. After gathering her thoughts, Emma scheduled a meeting with Mr. Harris. "I'd like to discuss the marketing manager role," she mentioned as she sat down with him. His face lit up with a smile. "I was hoping you would ask about that. Your team has been thriving because of your leadership. I believe you are ready for this step," he said warmly. Emma felt the validation wash over her, making her heart swell with pride. "Thank you for believing in me," she said, surprised by her own confidence. "I want to lead projects that uplift our team." Mr. Harris nodded in agreement. It felt like the moment had come full circle. As they discussed the specifics of the position, Emma found herself excitedly brainstorming ideas for how she could continue guiding her colleagues. She felt the passion woven through her voice, bursting with ideas for workshops and team activities focused on resilience and collaboration. Emma's heart raced. She wanted her vision to thrive. Over the following weeks, Emma worked hard to prepare for the application. She felt energized by this new chapter in her career journey. With Sarah's continued support, Emma practiced her interview skills. Sarah reminded her of how powerful her story was, beginning from a place of struggle to one of growth and positivity. "You have the power to make a big change," Sarah encouraged during their sessions. When the day of the interview arrived, Emma walked into the conference room with her head held high. She faced questions easily and shared her vision enthusiastically. Emma spoke from her heart, expressing not just her goal for the position, but also the change she wanted to create within the team. As the interview wrapped up, Emma felt a wave of relief. She could sense the possibility that awaited her, the bright new future aligning with her desires. Emma had confronted her fears, and those fears no longer controlled her decisions. She understood that her voice had the power to inspire a culture of support, respect, and joy at work. Weeks later, Emma received the news she had longed for. She was officially the new marketing manager. Tears of happiness rolled down her cheeks. It was not just a job, but a validation of her journey. Emma recognized that shifting her mindset helped her create the work life she had always wanted. With her heart full of gratitude, Emma took a moment to celebrate. She had transformed her environment and, in the process, had transformed herself. Now, she stood poised, ready to lead with compassion and strength, knowing that every action taken can create a ripple of positive change. Emma felt hopeful and powerful as she embraced her new role, ready to inspire others as she had inspired herself. As the months rolled on, Emma settled into her role as marketing manager. Every day brought new challenges, but she faced them with a renewed mindset. The office atmosphere continued to improve, and she was proud to see how her leadership made a difference. Emma embraced her responsibilities, leading team meetings, brainstorming new projects, and encouraging open communication. She implemented regular workshops focusing on teamwork and resilience. Each session energized her team, and people began to share their successes and challenges openly. Emma watched as her colleagues flourished, finding their voices just as she had done. It felt rewarding to know that she played a part in their growth. She wanted everyone to understand that they all deserved a healthy, supportive work environment. One afternoon, Emma received an email from Lucy. It was an apology. Lucy admitted that her behavior had been hurtful and expressed hope for a fresh start. Emma read the email multiple times, surprised by this change. In her heart, she understood that growth wasn't just a personal journey. It was something everyone could embrace. Emma responded kindly, explaining that she appreciated Lucy's honesty and was looking forward to an improved working relationship. This small but meaningful change marked a new chapter in their office dynamics. As Emma realized how much others had grown alongside her, she felt empowered, encouraging others to step into their strength linked to her professional journey. While Emma had accomplished so much, she knew this was just the beginning of her path. She set long-term career goals for herself, aiming to further develop her skills. She enrolled in management classes, wanting to gain better insights. Emma discovered that learning could continue even after successes. It never needed to stop. She envisioned herself leading larger projects, mentoring new team members, and guiding the younger employees who looked up to her for support. One sunny afternoon, Emma took a moment for self-reflection by the office windows. She gazed out, taking in the view of the vibrant city beyond. This different perspective echoed how she had shifted her mindset. No longer trapped by self-doubt, she felt empowered and focused. She promised herself to always embrace both growth and challenge, for they brought new opportunities. Emma also began volunteering for mentoring programs outside of work. She wanted to support young women who faced similar struggles in their careers. Each time she shared her story, she saw the inspirational spark ignite in others. Emma understood that sharing her journey not only helped them, but it also deepened her understanding of her own growth. It felt fulfilling to lift others while being reminded of her strength. Looking ahead, Emma created a vision board filled with goals and dreams. Prominently displayed were images and quotes that resonated with her aspirations. It reflected her commitment to the leadership style she wanted to cultivate, focused on kindness, courage, and support. With excitement, she filled it with ideas of future projects and plans to contribute positively to her community and workplace. As she stepped into each day, Emma felt more capable than ever. She had learned to navigate challenges with clear communication and an open mind. Emma had become a source of inspiration, showing everyone around her that positive change was possible, no matter the obstacles one faces. She learned not only how to stand up for herself, but also how to lift others. With clarity and purpose, Emma looked forward to a future filled with possibilities. Embracing healthy connections, learning experiences, and newfound confidence became her guiding principles. As she took each step, she knew that she had the power to shape her life and inspire those around her to do the same. Emma was not just thriving. She was lighting the way for others, transforming her journey into one that encouraged hope and strength for a better tomorrow.